Live, 10 p.m. Tuesday night, it's Sports with Rich. What else would it be here live on the SLG Network? Good evening, everyone. Once again, I'm Rich Mancuso, and there he is, the whiz, Robert Rizzo. Full almost 2 hours tonight with everything. And we'll start with MLB. Of course, we'll do the NBA, Warriors, Celtics, the Rangers vying to go to the Stanley Cup Finals out of the Eastern Conference tonight. That continues. Of course, we'll do Keep It in the Ring. Of course, we'll have my Fact of the Week. Of course, we'll have a lot of other surprises and a couple of guests along the way. And we want you to contribute. Enjoy the program. Thank you last week, our debut show. Ask us questions or comment in the cube. The Wiz will probably get to it before I do because he's more multitasked than I am. And there he is, the Wiz. How was your week, Riz?
Oh, my week was fantastic. It was a massive sports week. You had boxing, you had baseball.
Can't you ever tell me that you've had a bad week?
Oh, no, not with baseball going on. I'm always happy during baseball season.
But you never have a bad week because you're one of these guys that call again a young pup. In the meantime, I have to take my Geritol and everything else because, this is not an old man game no more. You're always good, Wiz, and you're always on it. And later in the segment, we are going to have what they say, nobody beats the Wiz. You'll see what I'm talking about. We're going to test you a little bit, okay?
Looking forward
All
to
right.
it.
So get us in the cube, ask us a question. We're live on the SLG Network. Let's begin. MLB, baseball, of course. We're almost Wiz? We're in a third of the season right now, past, right?
Yeah.
And we're getting an idea where things are at, especially in New York. We'll talk about Mets, Yankees in a moment. But I want to talk about the manager firings. I called the one about. We'll talk about John Madden and the Angels situation. Got fired today with their awful losing streak of 12 games coming into tonight. The Phillies, I expected Joe Girardi to go. This guy Bryce Harper responded though with the new manager. And here he is. Joe Girardi goes. Bryce Harper promises that he's going to hit a game-winning home run against the Braves Sunday at Citizens Bank Park with 2 outs, and he does it. What do you think about that, Wiz?
Yeah, since Girardi got fired, they're on a winning streak, 4-game winning streak. Their last 10, 5-5, so they're getting hot. Bryce Harper, unfortunately, can't play the outfield because he tore elbow ligament on a throw early April, I say, and he hasn't played the field since April 16th.
Right.
His bat's still there for sure, as you've seen it. He's batting .309 on the season, 13 homers, 40 RBIs, 58 hits total. And in his last 10 games, he has 13 hits and 9 RBIs. So he's just getting going, and he's the defending MVP, so you got to trust him.
He's going to warm up, and I think that Phillies team is responding, too.
Yeah, for sure.
This is something that happens in baseball. When the players don't perform, the manager goes. That's the case with the Phillies, and that is the case now with the Angels. And Harper is just much better than what he is. So is Castellanos on that team, Realmuto, and so forth. The problem with the Phillies has been their bullpen, and they just have not been playing. They've been, it's been errors. It's been not getting the hits. It hasn't been the pitch. It's been everything. But yeah. They're looking so much better the last few days, and you wonder how much, again, does a managerial change a team, Wiz? And I don't know about that, but in this case, it looks like that's happening with the Phillies right now.
Yeah, I think it's for sure happening with the Phillies, and you see it with multiple teams in MLB. I hate the word culture because a lot of teams throw it around, fans throw it around, but it's the everyday task and everyday mindset. The winning individual games. It's not about winning 6 straight. It's about winning day to day, stacking up W's, and that's how you get successful throughout a 162 game season, in my opinion.
Rob Thompson is deserving to be a manager. He's the interim manager now in Philadelphia with the Phillies. I know him. He was a Yankee coach, and he was under Joe Girardi for a long time. Good luck to him. And the same now goes to Mike Trout and those Angels. Trout last night broke an 0 for 26 skid. That's not Mike Trout, especially with that contract. He's been a part of the reason why the Angels are on this 12-game losing streak. But he hit a home run tonight, Wiz. So it seems like maybe he's getting his act. And again, managerial change. Bob Melvin now succeeds Joe Madden. And I will tell you, I've told you this before, and I've told this to a lot of people that, you know, when you're up there, you're in the game, you talk to the scouts and so forth, and you hear that word analytics all the time. And I really do believe the Phillies and Angels have been bothered by analytics, and the managers, in this case, Girardi and Joe Madden, had to listen to what upper management was telling them to do. Now you wonder, with Bob Melvin in control, Rob Thompson in control in Philadelphia, if there is a difference. I don't think it was the chemistry in the clubhouse with either manager and the players. I just think this is part of baseball, a long course of a season, and in due time, you give Madden and Girardi a little more time. Maybe the players would have responded better. But when you underperform, the manager goes first.
Yeah, I was going to say results speak for themselves, and the managers are first to go in most sports when it comes to this stuff. The losing streak for Trout, he's batting 114, only 5 hits, and 17 strikeouts. So before his home run tonight, he wasn't doing much. And we saw him in the Bronx, although the game was postponed. We saw him there, and he was slacking the next game in the doubleheader.
Yeah. That wasn't Mike Trout. It wasn't Mike Trout. He looked totally off at the plate. He really did. Fastball, I didn't see him commanding what was coming down with the fastball. And the same went for Duffy in their lineup, Walsh. These guys are known hitters. But then again, the average major league average around baseball, you look at some of these batting averages, Wiz, 230, 240 for guys that are career 300 hitters or 290, 280 hitters. The game has changed so much. And the Angels, I think, are a part of that.
Yeah, I was going to say, with the analytics, you see it player by player, team by team. These guys have so much to focus on up to bat. And then you add in the analytics, all these hitting meetings beforehand. Instead of 5 pitches coming in, they're thinking of 10 to 15 different things at a time.
Yeah, and they do have, they have a lot of hitting meetings because, when I go downstairs, down into the bowels of the stadiums, and I got to go get a player in a visiting clubhouse or even in the home clubhouse, they can't talk because they're in the midst of hitting meetings an hour before a game. To me, might be too overkill with these guys and might have an effect on them, but I'd still will say analytics plays a major role in this. So the Angels hope to rebound. The Phillies hope to rebound. The Mets continue their hot streak. This team, to me, they're not slowing down. And what did you think of Buck Showalter and what Sunday did? That game Sunday in Los Angeles, that whole series, that if you're a Met fan, and I know you are, and I am, they're not my team, as I say, but yeah, I have a rooting interest with them. You're watching that Dodger-Mets series, 4 games. Mets lose the first 2, coming off all these runs they scored off the Nationals and Philly series, and then they just, in the first 2 games, couldn't buy a run. And all of a sudden, in the next 2 games, here come the Mets again, scoring runs and hitting in the right situation and getting the great pitching. You're a Met fan, and you're looking possibly at a preview of the NLCS in October. What a series that was, and Buck Showalter again on Sunday. Two things happened. I want your thoughts, Wiz, first on the development that happened on Saturday. Okay. And then the pitching, the rule, and with Dave Roberts, and them not knowing, the umpires or Dave Roberts supposedly not knowing that when a team is leading by more than 5 runs, you can't bring in a position player to pitch. And that's an embarrassment. The umpires didn't know it, but you know who knew it? Buck Showalter.
I was going to say,
crazy situation.
I was going to say, it's a terrible look by MLB. It was implemented in 2020, I believe. Showalter, it's his first year, as Mets fans know. All these guys have been umpires for decades. How don't you adjust the rule book every year by year? And for Showalter to figure it out just like that, the game, it's just half-second reactions. And for Showalter to stop the game, make sure it's approved by MLB, because they called New York right then and there to make sure. And Showalter was right.
Yeah. Well, that's the
So
master Buck, and Buck we
yeah,
trust, and that's why the Mets got him. The owner Steve Cohn was at that series as well because he knew this was yeah. J.D. Davis had the great line after Sunday's game after the series ended. He said this was a quiz, not the test. The test probably will come in October if this keeps up with both teams. And also, Wiz, I want your opinion on what Buck Showalter did on that in Sunday's finale. In that crucial inning, in the eighth inning, he brings Edwin Diaz in, then lifts him to let Seth Lugo get the close it. And his explanation afterwards. At first, I questioned it. Then you hear Buck talk after the game, and he says that was the right situation. I had to have Diaz come in and face their top hitters in the lineup first. I didn't agree with it at first, but then when you look at it, it was the right call. What do you think?
yeah, I like the call, but as you said, during the situation, I didn't like it because obviously Diaz is one of the best relief pitchers we have. For him to finish it in the eighth, it makes sense. But I would have liked for him to go out in that ninth. But just like you said, Showalter explained post game that he wanted to have Diaz ready to go on Monday against the Padres. So he was already planning for the next day. And I know that makes sense, but the bullpen is a huge question mark for this Mets team. And for that to happen against the Dodgers,
no.
It didn't sit well with us Mets fans. But at the time, they got the win, so that's all that matters. We got by. They split the 4-game set, and that's huge for the Mets fans out in LA.
Well, you know the Mets are going to be busy before the trade deadline, and their priority is the bullpen. They're going to be doing that. They're not going to get Trevor May will be back before then. But one thing you could say, that pitching staff, including Williams and Peterson, picking up the slack without DeGrom and Scherzer. Tyler McGill is going to return. He will be back, I believe, this weekend in the Angels series in Anaheim. There's big West Coast trip for the Mets where they've done so well right to this point. And, DeGrom's throwing again. They could expect him back before the break. So, and Scherzer, the freak accidents. I mean, come on, Lindor. He's as clumsy as me, for Christ's sakes. I could spill my water all the time and everything. But when you look at, Lindor gets his finger caught in a door, the door slammed on his
door.
Index, right? And then Max Scherzer get bit by one of his dogs. That's why I don't have a dog. I mean, I can tell everyone I have no dog by me. But that didn't impact his recovery to come back. His comeback is going well, his rehab. And so, before long, the Mets will have the full complement they expected. And let's just, you're looking to see a healthy DeGrom, and they say he will be, and a healthy Scherzer, and they say he will be. Someone's going to have to go in that rotation. Maybe you put him in the pen. Peterson, maybe, or Williams,
Yeah, especially Peterson, because we need the left-handed arms. So that would be a huge upgrade. And
how about Pete Alonso, though? Let's talk about Alonso.
Yeah, for Alonso.
Major league leader in RBI right now coming into tonight's game. I believe he's tied with Mookie Betts or ahead of him by one in the home run department. Yeah. He hasn't been invited yet to the home run derby. It's a little too early for that, but I'm sure he's going to go back in LA, the ballpark where he hits a lot of home runs, and try and defend the 2-time home run derby. I hate the home run derby. I can't stand it. I'll talk about that at another time, but let's talk about Alonso.
Yeah, Alonso.
MVP type, on pace maybe for what? 45 home runs or more, 160 RBIs, very possible.
Yeah, as of now, he has 16 homers, 54 RBIs, 61 hits. He's batting .282 batting average. So for everyone that says Pete Alonso is just a home run hitter, he's putting the ball in play other than the home runs. And for him, he's the RBI leader. He's second in home runs behind Judge. He's 8th in all of MLB in runs, and he has the most hits on the Mets. So when you're talking about MVPs, you got to include Alonso in the discussion. He might not be the front runner or anything like that because you got stars like Arenado, Goldschmidt, Machado. It goes down the list. So Alonso definitely should be in that discussion. I don't know about the number placement, but he definitely deserves.
Well, he's on his way. He's on his way to a record pace. It might be better than his rookie season of 3-4 years ago. He's not playing for a contract, but eventually he will. And this is a guy right now, to me, who's got to be considered the franchise player of this Mets team.
Yeah, for
Not
sure.
DeGrom, not
Yeah, no.
Scherzer. It's Pete Alonso.
Yeah, I was going to say it has to be Alonso because other than the pitchers, they pitch every 5 days. So we know that the batters make the biggest performance results out of everybody. And with Alonso, he's the DH now, but he switches on defense. So if he's playing more defense and he's upgrading and progressing as a first baseman, we could see him in those MVP talks in the future for sure.
Very much well. He's to talk about it now. And how about Escobar last night? A cycle. The 12th time a Met has done that. The first since Hairston did it about 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I remember that. Escobar, that's an important cog in their lineup, and it seems like he's got his swing back. And Sterling Marte continually plays a great outfield and continually comes up with a big hit for the Mets. Everything's working for this team now. The question is, can this keep up? They have the best record in the National League, maybe the third or second best in baseball next to the Yankees. We're going to talk about in a moment. Do the Mets keep this pace up? I mean, it looks like they lose 2 in a row and they come right back. So time will tell with this team. But remember one thing, they've got a manager, Buck Showalter. He'll keep them winning. And they have a team that can win. And they've made baseball know that they can win.
For sure. They're a very balanced team. They have 19 wins at home, 19 wins on the road. So that shows for it right there.
And they're beating the teams in their division, except they haven't played the Marlins yet. They're nemesis. The Marlins always beat them, but I don't think it's going to happen this year. The Marlins will finally see the Mets, I think, next week or the week after. All right. Crosstown. They keep talking about a Subway Series, and that could happen if this keeps up. Those Yankees continually win with the best record in baseball, and you look at their staff ERA, tops in baseball. You look at their slugging percentage, which is, I think, first. You look at their hitting, first in baseball. This was a team I did not expect that would have the horses and those the players to do this. The only 2 weak links in that lineup are Joey Gallo and Aaron Hicks. Other than that, count on everyone in that lineup to come through for the Yankees. They are deep and rich all around, even with that bullpen without Chapman, given to Clark and Schmidt and Holmes. They've got guys that can do it, and with guys on the sideline, losing Sean Green and it's a Yankee team, especially with this guy who's surprising the hell out of me, Nestor Cortez, Nasty Nestor as they call him. Yeah, with an ERA that's under 1.50, with a cutter that has been perfect. The last Yankee, that had a cutter like that was Mariano Rivera out of the bullpen. But they're all talking about Nasty Nestor, except Jim Cott, who got caught. Cott took his tongue this week where he called him Nestor the Molested and later apologized about that. Look, that happens when you broadcast. Sometimes things come out. But let's talk about Nestor Cortez and that Yankee pitching staff, Wiz, and how good they've been. Because they're just doing things that we haven't seen in baseball in a long time from a pitching staff that I didn't think had it.
Yeah. Nasty Nestor, 1.5 ERA, 68 Ks in 60 innings pitched, 5-1 record. And these Yankees starting pitching, I feel like I haven't seen this before because first in ERA, second in shutouts, second in hits allowed, fourth in strikeouts. Meanwhile, we entered the season, everyone was a question mark except Garrett Cole. And Yankee fans, you guys know, Garrett Cole, you guys were not happy with in that wild card game in October. So everyone's stepping up.
Everyone, Jameson, Tanya, when you look at the first 4 and what they did this week and starters for the first time, they 6 innings or more of no-hit ball during this past week. And that accounts for a lot of what they've done. That is unheard of, what they've been doing as a rotation, Wiz.
Yeah, it's absurd. Day by day, they try to challenge themselves. And I like that as a pitching rotation, you're competing against each other. So it's kind of like motivation day by day.
10 consecutive starts by Yankee pitchers. They gave up 16 runs in 11 games. That's phenomenal.
For
That
sure.
really is what I think you got a
Yeah.
question in the cube right there. What does it say,
Yeah.
Wiz?
Is Nestor the game one pitcher in a playoff series? Do we think Boone would ever have him pitch over Cole?
No, I don't think so. Cole is their franchise starter. Then Quartet. I'll tell you, they're dangerous though. That's a 1-2 that I wouldn't want to face in a postseason. So yeah, good question that just came up. Thank you very much, and all of you out there watching to continue to add. We'll get those questions in for you tonight. So Yankees though in the midst of this span of games, and both teams in New York not at home this week. The schedule maker goofed up again. Both of them on the road this week. It's crazy. That's why me and you have a little time off. And the way my back feels, I needed the time off anyway from the ballpark. I got to get the Geritol in me. I don't know what it is, Wiz. But anyway, when you look also at position players for this team, and Miguel Andujar asking for a trade because there's no room for him. I mean, he can't up and down the line. You know what I would do? I don't care how big Hicks' contract is. I don't care how much Joey Gallo might have meant to them by coming in here as a left-handed hitter in the trade deadline of Brian Cashman pulled off last July. Joey Gallo's hurting this team. I would trade him. I'd bring Andujar up, but they feel that he's a guy they need to bring up and down. When he's in the lineup, when he comes up here, he's Miguel Andujar we saw 3 years ago or 4 years ago, where we came that short of winning American League Rookie of the Year. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, he makes an impact when he's up there, and now he's playing the outfield instead of third base. When he was back up, when he was young, he was playing third base, and people saw how much he lacked at third with all the errors. He's a strong left fielder who can make the plays in the outfield. And obviously his bat's still there. And for a guy who came in second behind Ohtani in the American League Rookie of the Year voting, the guy definitely deserves to be playing every day.
He should, but there's no room for him. So how about he change boroughs and play for the Mets?
Ooh, that would be spicy. I don't know if Cohen would do it.
I don't think the Yankees. From what I'm hearing from the Yankee people, they will not give up Andujar. They figure there's a role for him here somewhere.
Yeah.
And let's face it, and I don't think they'll do that. So I just forget that.
It's funny you bring up the Hicks contract because we've seen just across town the Mets cut $40 million with Cano, and Yankees aren't willing to cut this contract on Hicks.
No, they made a mistake in giving. They made a big mistake in giving Aaron Hicks that big money. Aaron Hicks got overpaid, and it's showing. He's lost at the plate. As long Joey Gallo's hitting under 180. And well, he hit a home run the other day. Big deal. He's hurting them in the lineup. Well, they got enough guys to pick them up because it seems like everyone in the Yankee lineup always does something. So this guy, Aaron Judge, continually does it. Aaron Judge is right now, and I believe he will be. Oh, there's the bobblehead. I don't have it with me. It's in my mantle case already. However, I might give it to someone. If someone watching us tonight gets a fact of the week in a moment, maybe I'll give it away. Aaron Judge had his night the other night, continually hits home runs. Right now, who's going to stop him from being the AL MVP? He's dangerous. He'll strike out. He'll strike out once in a while. Give him a changeup in the wrong spot, a fastball down the middle, and it's out of the park. And Wiz, those home run balls, we've seen it up front close. They're huge shots. When they say miles, they could measure them all they want. Those are huge home run balls out of the park by Aaron Judge.
Yeah, like the comment says, he had another one today. He has 22 on the season, home run leader, obviously. On his bobblehead night, he went 4 for 5 with a home run, 3 RBIs. And they won 13-0 in that. He's third in all of MLB in runs. And on the season, he's been 313 with 42 ribbies and 62 hits. And this is the guy that was willing to bet on himself. So he's making more and more money every day.
He deserves a big contract. I don't know if he's going to get $350 million or more from the Yankees. That's what he wants. But at this pace, you're going to have to give it to him.
Yeah.
I mean,
day by day.
And it doesn't. And here's the one thing also is I've yet to speak to him this season. I will. But, you talk around the press box, on the field as we do. And one thing we know, Aaron Judge is not letting this contract situation get to him.
Yeah,
Not at
no,
all. He's
yeah,
playing. He's gonna. The numbers he's gonna have are going to be comparable or even better than Alonso's doing across town with the Mets.
yeah. I was gonna say we see it on the field during batting practice when Judge takes swings, just hanging out on the field. The players gravitate towards him. In all the pre games, even the opposing players, they shake his hand, say what's up. We saw it with Rougned Odor against the Orioles in April.
Yeah, a lot of respect. He's
Yep.
a classy guy. He's a Yankee franchise player, just like I feel Alonso was crossed down with the Mets. Subway Series, if this keeps up, it might happen in New York. It might.
Happen.
Not going to happen with the Dodgers and the Angels this year unless the Angels make another comeback. They got off to a good start, fell apart, fired their manager. All right, let's move on. Talk about the Dodgers and Dodger Stadium. Do you see that comment about Dodger Stadium that the Mets said in their visiting clubhouse on the first base side? That's the only stadium in baseball where the home team has the third base side. The Mets said the dugout and the clubhouse smells like rat urine. Did you hear that?
Oh, I didn't hear that. That got by me.
Oh wow, you bypassed that?
Yeah.
You the Wiz missed that? I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. Well, anyway, I can tell you I haven't been at Dodger Stadium in a long time, but I know it's the third oldest ballpark in baseball, next to Wrigley Field and Fenway Park. Also, it's a beautiful park. It's immaculate. They did some remodeling in it. Maybe it's old sewage, whatever it is. But that's what the Mets claim. Look, I just didn't get brought that up because the Mets brought it up. I don't think it means anything.
No, it's funny you bring it up because in California, the same state, Oakland, with their stadium, it's rusted down. Like fans have problems with it every game.
They got the A's need a new ballpark. It's a matter of the city and all those others, just like here in New York, trying to get NYCFC, our soccer team that we love so much, their own stadium. There's a lot of things involved with that. Municipalities, tax structure, the whole bit. So, but Dodger Stadium to me is still one of the prettiest ballparks in baseball, and it's third oldest. So rat urine, I don't know what the Mets are thinking about there. All right, take a look at this. I originally wanted to show this, but we can't find the photo that I wanted. But we have a picture here of the Yankees at bat, okay? But the on-deck circle at Yankee Stadium, I've mentioned to you this, Wiz, in the press box, how the Yankees, one after another, never are seen in the on-deck circle. They're always behind home plate, just a few inches away. And I don't know how Major League Baseball lets the Yankees get away with that. I don't see other teams doing that. The Yankees continually do that. I think it's wrong. Besides, they're risking injury. In other words, the batter's box, the on-deck circle, you know where it is. It's by the dugouts, a little out from it. That's where they're supposed to be, on deck. That's why they call it the on-deck circle. But I noticed in the last few years, going back to the Derek Jeter days, Jeter used to do that, not far from home plate. Gary Sanchez did it constantly, and I wanted to show that photo to show you what I've been talking about. I think it's wrong. It shouldn't be done, besides the players risking injury also, but the Yankees get away with it. Hey, they're the New York Yankees. What can I tell you? You know?
I was gonna say it definitely benefits them, just seeing the pitches more close up.
Yeah.
But God forbid someone gets hit.
There you go.
That's 10 feet away. That's what 1/6 of the pitcher's mound.
Yeah.
Distance.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
All right. Let's take a look at the power rankings as we wrap up MLB this week. I got the Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, and Astros leading the pack, and then the Brewers right behind. The Mets, of course, because they're hitting 264 as a team and leading in that category in baseball. The Dodgers runs per game, second in ERA. They're there. The Astros are leading the American League West by a wide margin now, 8.5 games, and they're 24-9 since May 1st. That's the Astros for you, who are not getting the acclaim that they should, as well as they've been playing. And the Brewers staff, 544 strikeouts as a pitching staff. Phenomenal, as you're not even in a quarter of the season yet.
Yeah,
So
they're very.
that's how I got the power rankings. Watch out for the Blue Jays. They're making a run. They're starting to hit home runs. That's what that team is about. They're starting to score runs. That's what that team is about. I would not lead them out and say that they're finished and don't make a run for that division. Definitely wild card team in the American League. All right, was anything else with baseball? Because we're going to get ready here on the SLG Network Sports with Rich. I'm Rich Mancuso. That's Robert the Rizzo. I'm going to give the fact of the week, and then I believe we're going to go to a brief break, and we're going to have a brief sports update, and then we come back and are we doing NBA now?
Yeah,
Are we going?
we could do NBA.
Are we going to go to NBA
Yeah.
or then we'll do the break and all that stuff? Okay.
Yeah.
You lead the pack. Got a comment that just came up, I believe. Did you see it?
Yeah, let's go Blue Jays.
Okay. And who said that? Who said that? Costa, thanks for the comment. Welcome aboard. Keep it in the ring, as I always say. All right, the NBA, Warriors and Celtics, Wiz. The Warriors now have that 2-1 lead. Tomorrow they resume on ABC.
It's one.
Right?
It's 1-1.
1-1, right.
Yeah,
I told you
1-1.
my back hurts. I'm out of it tonight.
Yeah,
tomorrow's 1-1.
It's been
Jason Tatum. So let's talk about Jason Tatum a little bit.
Yeah, Tatum, he's been struggling. 12 points game 1, 28 points game 2. You think he had a great game 2, but he had 4 turnovers, minus 36 with the plus minus. That's tough. As much as people love to look at the stats, you have to make an impact on the court if you're not scoring. You see a lot of guys get the rebounds, the assists, the steals, the blocks. They contribute, but Tatum last 2 games, it's just been the points. He's really struggling. And this is his first finals. I'm not bashing him on that. It's a learning experience at 23 years old. I still have the Celtics in 6, but Tatum's got to get it going. You got Marcus Smart, Al Horford, Robert Williams.
Let's talk about Al Horford. He's become also a good tandem there with Tatum on the court.
Yeah, for sure. Horford's a great number 4 type player because he does what Draymond does in a way. He doesn't impact the score sheet, but he impacts all the players around him. So you'll see the steals, the blocks, the rebounds for Horford. And that's what wins you ball games at the end of the day, because the last 2 games I've seen in this finals, the turnover margin and the second chance opportunities, that's what it comes down to with these games.
And go to the Warriors side. And again, the team depends a lot on Stephon Curry. Yeah, and Curry with those 3-point shots, you never know. He's my favorite Warrior. He's one of my all-time NBA greats in this era.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest shooters ever, probably the best shooter ever, obviously. But 29 and 30. He had 29. He had 29 points in game 1 and 34 in game 2.
And if the Celtics want to win, they're going to have to contain him. We know that, as well as this guy Draymond Green. What about him?
Yeah. I said it before. Draymond, it doesn't show up on the stat sheets, but he does it all on the court. The blocks, just like that winning aspect, the winning mindset. Because you got guys like Jordan Poole, Gary Payton, Andrew Wiggins. They haven't been there before. This finals experience, and Draymond, Clay, Curry, they know what it's all about. It's just a matter of bringing it down to the young core.
I still think the series goes 7 and the Warriors win another NBA championship. We'll talk about that more next week, and we'll try and get an NBA analyst on here with us. All right, now we could do fact of the week, my favorite part of the week, then go to a brief update. Here you go. You ready? Let's get the fact of the week. You're not going to get it, Wiz. I don't think anyone will. Came up with a good one again this week, all right? It deals with the average baseball game that's been 3 hours in length. We know that. And during that 3-hour baseball game, how much of a game, how many minutes or seconds it count for stolen bases, wild pitches, balls, strikes, foul balls, balls hit and play, hit by pitch, pick-off throws, all that stuff. Baseball game has been averaging 3 hours. They're trying to lengthen the time. But all that other stuff, the average amount of time and action that takes place on a field, how many minutes, how many seconds? You'll never get this one. Nope. Think about it. Don't Google it. I don't even think you can get it on Google. You won't even get that on Google. That's the fact of the week. If you can get it, give us the answer in the cube. Sports with Rich. I'm Rich Mancuso. What do we got there? Who's got an answer? What does it say?
Calvin and Leon said Draymond is to the Warriors what Rodman was to the Bulls. What do you think
That's
of
a good comparison. Very good analogy. Thank you. Very true. All right, fact of the week is done. Baseball's done. NBA, we got a lot more to talk about. Keep It in the Ring is coming up. Right now, let's get to our first sports update. I think John is joining us this week to do that. And then we'll take a break and come right back with Keep It in the Ring. I'm Rich Mancuso. That's the whiz, Robert Rizzo. Sports with Rich here on the SLG Network. Back after this.
Thank you guys. First, great show so far. Hold on, let me just take care of something right here quickly. This is John with your update on this Tuesday edition. Over in hockey right now, the Rangers and Lightning are currently in the middle of the third period right now. The Lightning are currently up 3-0 right now, as the Rangers are up in that series 2-1. Over in baseball, and there is a lot of games going on right now. The New York Mets right now are currently losing to the San Diego Padres 4-0. They are in the top of the third. Over in Cleveland, the Guardians are losing to Texas 6-3. The Reds are pretty much not destroying, but they're having fun with the Diamondbacks right now. They're winning 10-5, bottom of the fifth. The Tigers are winning right now, top of the fifth, 4-3. The Yankees are winning now 8-4, top of the seventh. You have the Astros who are winning right now. They are also in the end of the seventh. The Blue Jays are winning 5-0. The White Sox are winning 4-0. The Brewers are winning 2-1. And you have a lot of sports going on right now. We'll be right back after this with more from the guys.
Spending money like it's nothing. I don't have a budget. Please don't get offended when you see the kids stunting. Got my queens with me, but it ain't no Scarborough bluffing. See, I'm riding solo while dependent bitches cuffing. I got all I need, me, myself, and I just love it. I've been gone, riches stacking to the ceiling. I'm dick long. Could never change the side I've been on. In 100 years, I'ma still be with my day ones. When it's said and done, fuck where I'm going, it's all about where I came from. You don't know.
Oh, there you are, Wiz. You're on the other side right now.
Yeah, we're back.
On this age of the internet, you never know where you're going to be or where I'm going to be. Bad back and all, though. I'm here this week. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks, John, for the update. John, I'm gonna put John Blaine on in a moment. We'll interact with him a little bit. I like doing that. Keep it in the ring time. Let's get to it. Here at Sports with Rich, live on the SLG Network, Tuesday nights live, 10 p.m. Eastern. Your questions, your comments in the cube as always. Let's go some Keep It in the Ring boxing first. A lot of it. Look at Devin Haney. There he is. Devin Haney easily defeated George Kambosos last Saturday, and is now the undisputed and unified lightweight champ, meaning that Devin Haney has all the belts, even that WBC bogus regular title belt that Haney had. No contest here. Denny out-punched the guy. Kambosos fooled me. I guess that win against Teofimo Lopez in the Garden last November that I covered that fight was a fluke, because that was not Jan Kambosos we saw against Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo said, I really don't care. Well, he shouldn't, because he might be moving up in weight beyond 135. But congratulations to Devin Haney. Great performance. And now everyone wants to see the fight. Will it be Haney against Ryan Garcia? Will it be, or even Haney against Gervonta Davis? That's a fight people want to see. But the guy in the lightweight division who had a press conference just about an hour ago in California, he's fighting Javier Fontana July 19th on the Zone. Ryan Garcia, undefeated lightweight, the youngster with over 1 million or so more followers on Instagram and social media and so forth. He's calling out Gervonta Davis. He called him out after the fight, after the Haney fight the other night. That's a fight fans would rather see. But, Garcia should easily beat Fontana. I don't think that'll be much of a contest. It'll get him ready for either Gervonta, or Devin Haney. Now, Haney's got supposedly a rematch There's a clause in the contract with Gamboa's for a rematch. I don't think it's worth the rematch to see these two again, based on what we saw Saturday. What do you think?
Yeah, from what I saw, it wasn't that entertaining, to be honest. I don't think it has the makes to be a rematch. Before Costa, one of our fans said Devin Haney is the real deal. I kind of agree with him, but it's just that type of matchup I didn't like on Saturday night. I was sticking to Mets Dodgers when that was going on.
Well, that's because you're not a boxing keep it in the ring guy. That's why. Shame on you. You're around Rich Mancuso. You have to keep it in the ring. You know that. Sure. Pay attention, young man. Pay attention.
The stream had the laptop on that one.
Well, you're still learning the boxing game a little bit. Another lightweight that we have to look at in that division that's still a part of it is Lomachenko. And so that division's the best in boxing to me, next to 147, the welterweight. So this weekend in the Garden, Edward Berlanga, it's National Puerto Rican Day Parade in New York City this weekend. Berlanga is going to finally be in front of all his Puerto Rican fans in a sold-out Madison Square Garden Hulu Theater. That's on ESPN. Will Berlanga start another knockout streak, just like the 16 he started at 168. That's the division he's in. And the week from then at Madison Square Garden, Top Rank and Star Boxing, Smith and Artur from Russia, light heavyweight championship on the line. You're going to cover that with me at ringside 2 weeks from Saturday. All right. Boxing Hall of Fame weekend this weekend. 3 classes will be inducted up in Canastota, New York, including the 4-time division champion from Puerto Rico, Miguel Cotto, who to me is an all-time top 10 fighter in boxing history. I want to see what fans think my thoughts about that. Terrence Crawford, Earl Spence Jr. are talking. We might end up seeing this fight in the fall or late fall, November maybe. They're talking. Crawford, Spence. Of course, right now, Spence is one of the top pound-for-pound fighters next to Canelo Alvarez at 147. Terrence Crawford's a free agent. He can go where he wants. He's not tied down. That could be coming. Finally, the fight everybody's been waiting for the past 3 years, Crawford Spence. They are talking. And you look at Jamal Charlo. His fight been canceled in Texas this next weekend. Bad back. He was going to defend his title, his middleweight title. He's out of the picture. That whole Showtime card is off. And then finally, I have another note here about Danny Garcia from Philadelphia, one of my favorites. Moving from the welterweight division after a long layoff, coming back. He's going to be fighting in the Barclays Center sometime in July, they say. And he's fighting for the first time at 154. And we're anxious to see Danny Garcia back in action against one of the Benitez brothers, David. Jose, not David, is still at 168, looking at Canelo Alvarez still, but they say he'll never get him. I still think he will down the line if Canelo still has that belt. So a lot of that. Before we get to Luis Cortez, let's talk keep it in the ring. Let's get that pro wrestling stuff in there. I got to talk about this. All right, I got to talk about Cody Rhodes, torn pec and all. Still went in there Sunday, WWE, Hell in the Cell, and defeated Seth Rollins. And then last night on Monday Night Raw, Rollins thought they made peace, and as it is in pro wrestling, they didn't. Rollins came back out with the whip and whatever, the cane, and that was a way to get Cody Rhodes out of action for the next 6 months. We wish him well. That's a big blow to the WWE, Wiz, because Cody was in line to win Money in the Bank next month, the next big event on Peacock, and now they have to go in another direction. Cody's going to be on the sidelines but that was a very gruesome match, anticipated the trilogy in pro wrestling between the two, and one of the great ones. That was an enjoyable match to see. Next, Hell in a Cell, I would rate pretty good. Monday Night Raw last night, one of the best Monday Night Raws I've seen in years. And if the WWE creative team can do that all the time, kudos to them, because that kept my attention going, even with a bad back. Good job by WWE last night with Monday Night Raw. And finally, let's take a look at Oh, and Roman Reigns still out, and there he is. Another blow, pro wrestling, blow to AEW. The champ CM Punk is injured, going to need surgery. We wish the best of luck to him. He's relinquished the belt on an interim basis. Tomorrow night, AE Dynamite Battle Royal to determine who's going to fight for that interim title. Battle Royal is CM Punk's belt has been relinquished. He'll have it back, though. That's what they say. How they're pulling this off, I don't know. But it's going to be Jon Moxley facing the winner of the Battle Royal tomorrow night on AEW Dynamite. That's a look at Keep It in the Ring right now. If you have any more comments, boxing, wrestling, pro wrestling, of course, Keep It in the Ring with me, Rich Mancuso, the Wiz Robert Rizzo. Questions, comments in the cube, and we'll get it. Now, do we have Luis Cortez waiting in the cube? We can go to him. Next segment, I have a young writer, a friend of mine, a colleague. I don't know. Do we, John? There he is.
There's Luis.
Hey, there he is.
What's
Luis
up,
Cortez, my bro from Philly. Hey, Luis. Hey, thanks for joining me and the Wiz, Robert Rizzo. Welcome to Sports with Rich, and you're from Philly. First of all, you jump around as much as I do all over the place. We have a lot to talk about with boxing and the Philadelphia Phillies, of course, that you're on over there. Who do you write for again? Luis, tell us who you write for.
Okay, so the main site that I write for is the Weigh-In Podcast, theweightinpodcast.com. Matthew Ward runs the site. He's a nice local writer. He just finished a book with John DeSanto, who does the Pennsylvania Boxing Hall of Fame, about the history of Atlantic City boxing. So guys, check that book out. It's an awesome book. Just has a lot of rare photos from all the way back, goes through the entire history of Atlantic City boxing. But I also write for the sweetscience.com, which is one of the last remaining writers sites. After being around for 20 plus years. Rich, you know that. I mean, Bernard Fernandez going into the Hall of Fame this weekend, Thomas Hauser going into the Hall of Fame this weekend, Carlos Acevedo, who's done tremendous work and a lot of really good books. Check him out as well. So I contribute to that site. I've also done some work for PBC and Al Heyman and company. So I get around.
You do, and you do a good job at it. That's how we first met. We first met at the Barclays Center, I believe. It was about 5 years ago, I think, was it? And we hit it off right away because I was impressed with your knowledge. All you young pups, as I call you in this business, have great knowledge. And you're a good writer, and you broadcast. When you do, you broadcast, your ability to broadcast, you have a career here, Luis, and that's why I put guys like you on the air here on Sports with Rich, because I'm on the way out. Guy like you and a guy like Robert Rizzo, you're in. So welcome aboard, and we'll talk to you now a little bit about what's going on. Before we get to the Phillies, let's cover boxing. All right, let's talk about first. Let's talk about your thoughts on Devin Haney and that situation, and Danny Garcia, and Wiz jump in. And I know you have questions. Nonito Donaire lost the bantamweight titles today. That was this morning from Japan. If boxing fans want to know, Donaire lost in Japan. What was it? I can't pronounce his name. He got thrown by Inoue, right? Who's not known because he's not on pay-per-view. And when you're showing a fight at 8 a.m. in the United States from Japan, and the bantamweight division doesn't get much acclaim either. I mean, that's what's going to happen. Not many people know about him. You have to research him. Very talented. Watch it. Nonito Donaire is headed to the Hall of Fame. Speaking of that, you're heading up to Canastota this weekend, and a good friend is Kathy Duba, Main Events. You're writing a book about main events and their promotion based in Totowa, New Jersey. You're going to be there in Canastota. That's a great weekend. And you'll see Cotto inducted, Shane Mosley, I believe, right? So you're going to have a ball. 3 classes getting inducted. What about that?
All at once, the COVID situation knocked everything out for a while, and then tried to get it back up and running. but just to play it safe, it was best to do all three, 2020, 21, and 22 all in the same year. It's special for me because not only is it going to be my first time going up there, but also with Miguel Cotto being the website that I started breaking into the business with, miguelcotto.com, back when he was first making his bones with Top Rank as the prodigy, as the prospect. I used to do all the head writing for his site and then parlayed that to other gigs with Max Boxing when Steve Kim and Dougie Fisher were there and so forth. And then UCN Live with Steve Kim later on. So that's special for me in that sense because this is the first generation that I really covered, and such a huge class. Like you said, Shane Mosley, Bernard Hopkins, all the guys that I covered on my way up and trying to make a name for myself. A bunch of them are getting in, but then also with the Kathy Duva project and the Main Events project, she's getting in. She was inducted in 2020, and it's real special for that family because, as you know, you knew Dan Duva and Lou Duva well, and they're also inducted already into the Hall of Fame. So it's 2 generations worth of the Duva family, which is really the first family of boxing when it comes from the business side of things. So
that's going to be a great weekend up in Canastota. Sure. It's going to be great. Yeah.
You
right. And then also Thomas Hauser and Bernard Fernandez, like I said, from the Philly Daily News is getting in as well. So that's going to be cool.
Two great writers. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you just stated your whole incredible career, and you've seen boxing as a whole move and gravitate. And throughout the 90s, it was throughout the heavyweight class. That's what everyone focused on. So how does boxing once again get up to the totem pole as like the NFL or like UFC is trying to race up there? How can you see boxing progress?
What I believe is starting to happen now. Sometimes in losing in life, you win at the end of the day, because by losing, it creates opportunities that you might not have seen. And I think that's what happened with boxing in the pandemic. Now we're seeing guys, they need to no longer slow play things. They need to jump up and go after the big fights and go after them now. And that's what's getting a lot of buzz. Like we just saw with Devin Haney going for it. I mean, how many times have we seen or have we heard about in the past 10, 15 years of a young champion, young title holder, not really stepping up and trying to wait things out so that financially he can have control of things, whether it's his promoter dictating that or not. But in this case, he went old school with it. And he said, listen, I'm going to go to the other guy's house and I'm going to do what I have to do to bring those belts back to the United States because I know that I'm the best. And I think that it really was created through what occurred with the pandemic. So I see that as a plus. But there's going to be a lot more of the same old issues that boxing has, and the fact that it's I like to call it the Wild West. I mean, it's not really a landscape that's dictated by one entity or one professional league. And I'll give a shout out to Max Kellerman in this sense that he explained it well on his show, that you got to kind of look at it almost like college football, where Top Rank is its own conference and so forth. But ultimately, I think the fighters taking charge of their own careers, kind of the way, again, Devin Haney did in this sense. And big shout out to Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing for allowing Devin Haney to not get caught up in legal red tape and just go for it and say, listen, we've helped you along the way. We've made money with you, and we believe in you as well. That's why we help promote you from day one. So go ahead, do what you got to do to go get those.
Eddie Hearn, I have a lot of respect for him. He puts on great boxing show cards, and he believes in giving fighters opportunity. And his classic example, you brought up a good point, Louis. Louis Cortez, a great writer out of Philadelphia or PA area. My guest here with Robert, with Rizzo. I'm Rich Mancuso, Sports with Rich here on the IG Network. Now, I have to ask you, or the SLG Network. My back is out. The old man's back is out, so I'm going to make these mistakes. I'm not like John Sterling making a false home run call. I'm tired, that's what he said. Listen, Philadelphia is a hotbed for boxing. You have a lot of shows at the 2300 Arena now. Brings back things of the old days with that arena right over the bridge. And then you have the fighters coming out of Philly. Jero Boots Ennis, now in the welterweight title picks. And then you have, in the history of Philadelphia and the fighters, and not Rocky. I don't like Rocky, never did, never will. I'll never visit that statue on the steps. I can't stand, how I feel about Rocky, all right? Fiction, false.
Well, we finally got the Joe Frazier one up, so
yeah, that was great. I mean, it's just been so great. But I'm talking about Steve Fulton at 122, a Philadelphia champion now, has unified the titles at that weight. You know him. You know a lot about him. You cued me in on him a few years ago. What's making this kid special? Are you there, Lewis?
A gym rat. Can you hear me?
Yeah, do you hear me?
Did you got me? Hello?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, go ahead.
I can hear you now.
Okay.
So he's Fulton is a gym rat. He's a guy who is constantly in the gym working on his craft. There was times when I saw him with Boots Ennis in the gym, didn't have a fight scheduled, was making sure that he got his workouts in and staying sharp. He knew something was on the horizon. He didn't know it was going to be Danny Roman at that time, but he knew that he sees the big picture and he stays focused on that. And I think that's something that's very important that he does and Boots Ennis does right now, that is setting an example for a lot of the younger guys. And it's crazy to say that since they're both young men at this point. But with Fulton being a unified champion and Boots being on the way, they push each other. And then you still have guys like Danny Garcia, who's very close with Fulton. So he gives him the advice as well. But all of these guys have an idea of where they want to go with their careers, and they're not allowing outside influences or detractors to push them to deviate away from that. So whatever they have to do in order to stay focused and stay on track, they're going to do. And I think it's a breath of fresh air to see that type of dedication from these young guys.
And marketable fighters. And I got to ask you this before we jump to Danny Garcia, who made news in the past few days, how Philadelphia continues to be. They say Vegas is Fight City, USA, but Philly may not have those big arena shows like Vegas and everywhere else, but they constantly produce champions. Briefly, Lewis, why is that? Why does the city of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love that I love so much, brother, as I call you, as you call me, why is that city produce such great boxing champions time and time again throughout boxing history and now in the modern era?
I think it's a culture that is really starts, and I mean, it's kind of like corny to say this, but it starts from when kids first walk into the gym and they immerse themselves within that culture of Philly boxing. It used to be, the gym wars of Philadelphia and, South Philly versus North Philly. And then everybody would pile into the Blue Horizon or the arena.
Which I remember well. The Blue Horizon on Broad Street with Russell Peltz. I covered those shows years ago.
Sure, yeah. And beat the crap out of each other. Now what it's kind of becoming is it's almost like Philadelphia versus everyone else. So everybody has love for each other. They're not in it to beat each other up to a pulp. I mean, you still get these fights, which are good fights, club level fights, but ultimately when the cream rises to the top, they tend to watch out for each other. But really, what I think really keeps it going is that fact that, like I mentioned, the Fultons and the Ennises of the world, if you walk into the gym, and these guys are accessible. If you would have walked into Harrogate Gym, when Danny Garcia was first training there before he opened his own gym after the Amir Khan fight. I mean, this is a guy who's a world champion training to unify against Amir Khan, and he's training right in the neighborhood where he used to train for the Golden Gloves and for the Olympics. And so if you're a 10-year-old kid, you can see what you want to become and then see it as a reality. It's not just someone that you're watching on TV that's from your city. I mean, there's countless times I see Fulton and Ennis, again, because they're the guys now in the gym, and there's 10-year-old kids who are learning from them and working on the mitts with these guys. So it makes that possibility in their brain that this could be a reality for me in 10 to 12 years if I stay on the straight and narrow.
So if anybody knows about these fighters coming out of Philadelphia, Wiz, he does, because he sees them firsthand in the gym. And I always say, when you go in a boxing gym and you hang out in a boxing gym a little bit, that's where you get to see where the action is, because they take that and they come out of that gym and into the ring. You're seeing these guys firsthand. Now, we talk about Danny Garcia, Luis Cortez, my guest here on Sports with Rich, with Robert, the Rizzo, Sports with Rich, live here. You talk about Danny Garcia. He's going to come off a long layoff, no longer at 147. He's announced that he's going to fight Jose Benavidez at the Barclays Center next month in New York, here in Brooklyn. And how well do you think? He's had a great run at 147. Hasn't been there in a while. Former champ. Was it two-time 147 champion, right, Lewis? Was he two-time?
Yeah, he was. Right. He was unified at 40, and then he beat Garcia for the vacant belt, and then
he lost to Sean Porter, right?
And he lost to Porter, yeah. So and he's won the belt once at 47. Right.
Now he's going. He said that he's better at 154. He doesn't have to drop down. Doesn't have to lose a lot of weight, poundage, and so forth. Benavidez is going to be a test. Not Benavidez at 168. Not David Benavidez, who wants to fight Canelo. But Danny Garcia at 154. What do you think?
All right. So in my opinion, I think, and it's not just because he's from Philly or he's the first Latino world champion from Philly, but I think he gets a bad rap all the way around at times because he's fought and he's been in close fights, whether he's won the fight or he's lost the fight. Some thought he beat Peterson. Some thought he lost the Peterson Herrera fight. And then some people thought he beat Thurman. He lost that fight. So I think his career is kind of, there's been those like questionable fights, whether he won them or lost them. I kind of think they cancel each other out. And to me, he's a guy who has paid his dues, fought the fights, fought everyone, whether you enjoy – I mean, whether you think he won or he lost, they've all been exciting fights. He's always in a good fight. He's never in a bad fight.
He epitomizes that toughness of the Philadelphia fighter. That's what I've told you.
Yeah.
He's entertaining. And my thing with him is he's going to move up to 54. Yes, he doesn't have to come down to 47. I mentioned this to him when he was preparing. I think it was for Adrian Granados. We were in the gym at his gym, and I said to him, Danny, you were at your best when you were fighting 3 to 4 times a year, and you were constantly in the gym, preparing, constantly facing live ammunition. In my opinion, had he fought, and I've shared this with him before, had he fought 3 or 4 times the year that he fought Porter, he would have beat Porter, and probably the same against Keith Thurman. The one issue is his response was, yes, I understand that. However, what it takes for me to go through that at this point in my career is something different because I'm already at that back end. He knows he's on the back 9. So I think he's making one last push.
Yeah, I'll tell you, he really doesn't need to fight anymore. He's well off. He has businesses in Philly and all, owns property, real estate, all that. He's just doing it now, I think, for the love of it and testing what he could do at 154, which is another formidable and tough division in the sport. All right, Lewis, let's shift gears. Let's go now to baseball. Because I know you're a Philly fanatic. I know you are.
That's why I keep looking up right now. I got the game.
We talk. The Mets got a big blow tonight.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
No,
Did you see what happened? Pete
Did they win
Alonso
or
and no, they 2 injuries to their starting. I'm going to see how severe it is. Marte and Alonso both got hurt tonight, and
wow.
they don't know how severe. So I don't know. If those two have missed any extended time, you're going to start to see some things with the Mets that we haven't seen. But anyway, let's talk about the Phillies. Let's talk about Joe Girardi. You didn't like him. I know that. You kept telling me that. Was this the right move? Should it have came sooner? What was give me an idea down there in Philly. Why did Philly fans despise Joe Girardi?
I don't think it's so much that they despised him. I think just like New York fans, Boston fans, for the most part, everyone here is an intelligent fan and pays attention to what's going on and has frames of reference with experience. So from the past. And one of the things I know, especially for me, was that you could tell whether it was in wins or losses, that the players weren't really playing not necessarily for him, because they ultimately want to play together as a group.
And I don't think they quit on him at all. I don't think so. I think
they didn't quit on him, but they didn't.
What about Wiz? Jump in when you want. What about analytics? I feel analytics got into that team.
I brought that up before about the Mets and Yankees, how they decreased their use on analytics, and now you see the Angels. You see Angels and other teams, they cater to it, and you see how these managers, they're the ones that get fired. Meanwhile, you could see the analytics being the results for it.
Now, I think that is absolutely correct, like true, and that's part of it. But I kind of feel as though that the baseball that was being played was uninspired. Now, whether or not it was uninspired because he was making the wrong decisions based off of the analytics or based off of his own inability to get a feel of the team. I mean, that's something I guess in the locker room, and Rich, you would know better because of your connection within the organization. But ultimately, I see something going on different right now. I mean, since they fired him, they've been playing inspired baseball. They were down 2-1. They just hit 2 home runs to go up.
Definitely a difference. So
whether
it be analytics or you just don't know. You don't know. When I talk to ball players, as I do very often, because I'm out there at the ballpark. When I talk to ball players, do I say, does the manager make a difference? I say, no, a lot of it is on us. But the manager knows how to keep us in control. Now, you look at the Mets as an example of that with Buck Showalter. Hell, except for this addition here and there, the Mets could not do anything on the Luis Rojas or Mickey Callaway before him as the manager here in New York. The Yankees have always had a success with Girardi. See, that's the whole thing. You get the right players on a team, and you could be the best manager in the world. But this Philly team has the talent. They went out, spent a lot of money. They had the talent. Their flaws have been the bullpen. Occasionally, they're starting pitching. They just haven't been hitting, whatever. So I can't blame Girardi completely, but right now they're responding to the Robbie Thompson.
Right. And I think I agree. I think one of the key parts also is as Bryce Harper goes, the team goes, because he's just a different breed. I have so much more found respect for this man since he became a Philly and seeing him day in and day out and the way he hustles and plays the game. I see the manager now, and I don't know, again, if this is them learning off of the mistakes that they made through Kapler and then Girardi, where now, and it's only been 5 games, but now they're playing, they played the Angels, and the Angels, they've lost like 12 in a row. So that wasn't really a good sample size, but now with this series, that's why it's real big here in Philly, the series with the Brewers. It's to see, is he pushing the right buttons? Like you mentioned, Girardi, again, wasn't really everything that he didn't work. And at some point, if it's analytically driven, at some point you would figure the analytics would get it right. So I don't know if they had to fire the stat guy also, because it was just like everything he was doing.
Girardi got go ahead, Wiz.
I was gonna say, you brought up Harper's leadership, and you've been watching the games all season long. Harper got hurt in mid-April and hasn't played the field since. Do you think that that factors into these other guys when playing day-to-day next to Harper? He's in the lineup, but he's not next to you in right field or in center field.
Well, the reports are that he's a quiet guy in the clubhouse. He kind of leads by an example. So it would take another leader within that clubhouse to say, listen, this guy's out here. And you hear it on sports radio down here all the time, every day. This guy's out here busting his hump with a busted elbow, getting injections in his elbow, hitting home runs to tie the game. And then our damn bullpen can't even close it down afterwards. And we're giving up runs left and right because there's errors, there's walks, and it's inconsistency. It's not fundamental baseball, and we're supposed to be way more talented because the payroll supposedly says so, but we're playing baseball as
you bring up good points again, but again, and I'm not going to disagree with you, but to an extent here, that analytics plays a role in that. Coaching definitely plays a role in that, but I find it interesting that the only coach that was relieved under Girardi's reign was Bobby Meacham, who happens to be a very good coach. He's managed on a AAA level. Look, I know him well. I talked to him about it, and he had his opinion about it, which I'm not going to discuss right here. But the rest of the coaching staff was retained. So you're putting the brunt of this all on Joe Girardi, and I still think the Phillies, they're going to make some type of run. They're going to go on this winning streak, make a run, narrow the gap a little bit. I don't know, maybe wild card. It's not completely out for them. They're too talented not to be in the postseason with the expanded playoffs.
Well, I agree. And one of the things is I see one of the viewers keeps popping up and saying, let's go Astros. And I keep saying that. And that's cool because and I get it. But one of the things that I have to say is I understand where that guy's coming from. But I'm on the flip side because the Phillies really have no more options if this payroll and this lineup doesn't work, because our farm system is trash. Okay, we probably have one of the worst farm systems in the league.
So I've heard. Yes.
Who continues to pump out player after player. So that's kind of why we had to go into luxury tax. We haven't been to the playoffs since 2011. Going on, it's over a decade. Oh, they struck it. All right. They had the bases loaded with two outs.
So there's frustration there in the city of Brother Love with this Phillies team.
Lewis, they just got another one. They just beat the Brewers. So right on.
Lewis, I could keep you on for a whole hour, talk boxing, baseball, and much more with you. First, I'm going to wish you safe travels from Philly to Canastota, New York. Have a great time at the Boxing Hall of Fame. Where do people reach? Yeah, tell me what you got coming up. Where do people reach you on social media? Where do they read your work?
They can reach me on Twitter. I don't have like 1 million followers. But they can
join the club. Neither do I, and that's okay.
Neither do I.
I'm still coming to grips with the fact that social media and me is kind of like, I'm still learning on that.
I understand. And you're young. I'm the old school guy. I get it.
My Twitter is at LC3Boxing. And I'm just on Facebook, Luis Cortez. You could type in my name and then
where do people read your work? I want people to read what you do.
thewaypodcast.com, thesweetscience.com.
Okay, my friend.
I'll have something up in the very near future for the Hall of Fame weekend on the Sweet Science. And then Freeway Rick Ross, who was at one point the biggest crack dealer in the United States. And now, after he freed himself from prison, is a boxing manager. So they based Snowfall, the FX TV show, on him. But now he's involved in the boxing game. And everybody, I just hope everybody enjoys the fights coming up that we got. July, I'm gonna miss you at the Garden for Better BF and Joe Smith, but I think that's gonna be one of the crackers.
Right. Well, then I'll see you. I'll see you in the end of July. We're doing the show at Abella Boxing again the end of July, and then head to Danny Garcia's fight at Barclays the next night. All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right.
Listen,
and if I'll hook you guys up with him. All right.
I really thank you for coming on, giving us time.
Thank you, Louis.
Great talk, great knowledge. Always keep up the great work, and I'll see you soon, my friend. Okay.
All right. Thank you, fellas.
Keep it in the ring, Louis.
Night, everybody.
Thank you, my bud. All right. Enjoy the rest of your night. Louis Cortez, young and very talented writer out of Philadelphia. His knowledge about boxing I've always had, and his baseball knowledge as well. Learned a lot from him there a little bit.
I was going to say
about the fans in Philly.
I was going to say his point on college football versus NFL and boxing with its own sport. I kind of like that comparison. It made sense, and he described it well.
We'll have him on again. I like putting guys like him on. They don't do the other shows. They don't get around. Sports with Rich Mancuso, you the Wiz, Robert, Rizzo. We'll do that. We'll put guys like this on. And next week will be the same thing. I want to do that. These are guys I work with that don't get the exposure that they deserve. So I will do that. All right. Did you get the fact of the week yet?
Ooh, it's a tough one.
Well, throw it out again. You know, the amount of time of action on a baseball field, the average game is 3 hours. We know that. But what accounts for how much time as a game it accounts for stolen bases, wild pitches, pass balls, strikes, fouls, balls in play, pickoff throws, and everything else. If you take a shot at it, let me know in the cube here. Ask your question. I think now we're going to go to an update with John. Come back, and it's going to be Nobody Beats the Wiz, or Nobody Meets the Wiz, or whatever you want to call it. Update. Brief break, and we'll be back at you. I'm Rich Mancuso. That's Robert the Wiz Rizzo. Back after this, here at Sports with Rich Live.
Thanks, guys. Again, great time with Louis. He really is good. Here's a quick sports update for you guys. Over in the world of hockey right now, the New York Rangers have unfortunately lost their game with Tampa Bay. They are now tied 2-2 in that series. Over in baseball, the New York Mets are losing right now 4-0 to San Diego. They are in the bottom of the fifth. The Yankees are all over Minnesota right now. They're up 10-4 at the top of the ninth inning, mind you. And just some other scores going on right now. Give me a second here. Technology, really great. Doesn't want to work with me right now. Tigers are defeating the Pirates 4-3. They're in the top of the seventh inning right now. We've mentioned the Yankees already. The Astros are winning 4-1 over Seattle. They are in the bottom of the sixth. The Toronto Blue Jays are up 7-0 over the Kansas City Royals. They're in the bottom of the ninth. The Angels are defeating the Red Sox 4-3. They're in the top of the fifth. The Giants are midway through their game right now with Colorado. They're up 3-2, bottom of the fourth. The Guardians game went final. They are... Yes, Calvin, the Phillies did defeat your Brewers. Sorry to hear about that, buddy. The Reds defeated the Diamondbacks. The Marlins defeated the Nationals. The Cubs defeated the Orioles. The Rays defeated the Cardinals. Braves defeated the Athletics. The White Sox defeated the Dodgers. As I mentioned before, the Phillies did beat the Brewers. And that was your sports update. We're going to throw it to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with the guys right after this. This will work. This will be great. And there we go.
What's good, everybody? My name is Caleb from the Bayou City Boys over here on the SLG Network. Happy to announce that we are now working with Dano's Seasoning. So if you're anything like me, you meal prep all the time, Dano's is the way to go, man. They got multiple flavors. Hit them up. Be sure to use our code SLG Network. Appreciate every single one of y'all. Peace.
Spending money like it's nothing. I don't have a budget. Please don't get offended when you see the kids stunting. Got my queens with me, but it ain't no Scarborough bluffing. See, I'm riding solo while dependent bitches cuffing. I got all I need, me, myself, and I just love it. I've been gone.
Hey, we're back with Sports with Rich. I'm Rich Mancuso. That's the Where's Robert Rizzo. We're going to go probably 2 hours. My back is holding up, thank goodness. Wiz, you have back problems? You played ball before. I know you were an athlete.
I never had back problems. I've had shoulder problems, multiple dislocations in my throwing shoulder throughout the baseball action, high school, and a little bit of college.
Well, A lot of it is because I don't do enough exercise, and I'm at that age I should. I hear the lectures from everyone, even my cousin Maria, my lovely cousin, close family down in Florida. Everybody, ex-wife, son. You know what? I don't listen to anyone. I just do what I want to do. I'm addicted to sports.
You keep it in the ring.
Sport. I keep it in the ring. I love sports. I do what I got to do. I drink my water. I take my pills and my Geritol, and I do what I got to do. But I'm still here. I'm alive and kicking, and I'll make it through. Wiz, I want to bring John on real quick. John, are you there? John?
Yeah, I'm right here.
He's coming on. There is doing great job with the updates tonight. Thank you very much. John, big wrestling guy, real quick, because I know you can talk and have a lot more to do, and you're working behind the scenes tonight with the controls. What did you think of Monday Night Raw last night with that turn that I failed to mention in the Keep It in Ring segment when the what are they called? They're not the
Judgment Day.
Judgment Day. I was going to call them the Justice League. That caught everyone off guard. What did you think of that?
I loved it. It said it very funny, Calvin. It caught me off guard, but I'm curious to see where they go with it. I'm very curious to see. Personally, we talked about this on our show earlier tonight. I would have done it a little differently, but I think I'm curious to see where they go with this.
Yeah, so do I, because Cody, too, out of the picture, big loss for the next 6 months or so. Maybe he'll be back sooner because they have plans for him of Money in the Bank. But very interesting. Two big major wrestling superstars go down in 1 week, CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. Well, thank you, John. I'll get back with you in a little while. All right, my friend?
All right.
Always good. Thank you very much. Hey, Wiz, bad news coming out of the Mets tonight.
I know. I was reading up on that.
Alonso exited the game against San Diego tonight. Got on a hit wrist by Yu Darvish. I don't think the Marte injury is that severe, but that remains to be seen. And then we're talking about Mike Trout earlier, and he left tonight's game in the third inning, left groin tightness. Unbelievable tonight with the injuries. I thought I was the only one with a bad back.
Yeah, this guy.
Some of your
guys got to stay healthy.
I'll tell you one thing. If Alonso and Marte have to miss any extended period of time, that's going to hurt the Mets. It really is, because they bring Dom Smith up from that went down to AAA last week. I don't know what they're going to do without those two cogs in the lineup. Right now they're losing. We heard that on the update. And the Yankees look like they're on their way to another win, continue to leave with the best record in baseball. All right, Wiz, here we go. It's Nobody Beats the Wiz. There we go.
There we go.
It's Nobody Beats the Wiz. Where are you in that? Are you
in
the middle?
No. Yeah, I'm the lion.
Right. You're the lion. Well, you are a lion, I could tell you. And it's yes or no. What I'm going to do here every week, I thought I'd do something here. Yes or no. I'm going to ask you some quick questions. Yes or no. Give your opinion. It's your time. All right? You ready? Nobody beats the Wiz. Here we go. Will there be a Subway World Series with the Mets and Yankees in October in New York?
No.
Okay. Want to give a brief reason why?
Yeah, I think the Mets experience won't hold up in October. It takes a while to win in October. A lot of teams don't just go off on runs their first time. You saw with the Braves, they failed multiple times and then made their run last year. I think they'll definitely make the playoffs and ultimately fall in the NLCS against the Dodgers. That was my preseason pick.
Okay. All right. Well, We'll see. Nobody beats the Wiz. Here we go. Yes or no? Nestor Cortez, AL Cy Young Award winner. We talked about that earlier on the show.
No, I'm not going to go with Cortez.
Why?
I don't think he can hold up for the long haul of a 162-game season. There's definitely going to be down starts, and for him, a down start is 4 runs, 5 runs. But everyone gets those stands, and the way he throws, you never know. An injury can happen here and there. And the thing I like about Cortez, and John Smoltz explained it well, is he has 4 to 5 different pitches, but he has 4 to 5 different arm angles where he's throwing these pitches. So that's what makes him so incredible. But I don't think he'll win. I don't think he'll win the Cy Young.
All right, yes or no? Nobody beats the Wiz. Here we go. DeGrom and Scherzer with coming back to the Mets. Will they be healthy the rest of the way when they do return? Tyler McGill, it was said, is back probably this weekend. He's returning to the rotation after about being out for the last month. DeGrom or Scherzer, do they remain healthy and have an impact with this Mets pitching rotation and the team overall? Yes or no?
Yeah. I think they'll come back and stay healthy. It's just Scherzer, for sure, I think he's going to come back and stay healthy. It's just the oblique. It's a time span thing. DeGrom, anything can happen. It's a 1-week trial, and then we'll see next week, I think.
All right, good answer. That's why nobody beats the Wiz. Yes or no? Golden State Warriors win the NBA championship, the finals, in 7 games. What do you think?
I got I picked the Celtics in 6. I think the Celtics win overall, eliminate the games. I think
so. That's a no.
Yeah,
it's a no. Okay, a no.
Yeah, no.
All right, nobody. Again,
no.
Your time.
My point being is the defense must step up for Boston. I believe they can. It's just a matter on when. They have the home court advantage the next 2 games, so that's a big test for them.
All right, but we'll see tomorrow night. Game 3, right? Tomorrow night?
Yeah, 1-1.
Game 3? All right. Pay attention, everyone. Nobody beats the Wiz. We're coming down to the rapid ending here with this. All right? Nobody beats the Wiz, yes or no? Rangers, Stanley Cup champions when this is all over? They get by Tampa Bay. Do they beat Edmonton, right? No, they Colorado.
Colorado.
Right.
Yeah, if they get by the Lightning, they will beat Colorado. It all comes down to Igor Shesterkin. Whatever he does, it comes down to him. I think. Okay.
Final one that I have for you. Yes or no? Nobody beats the Wiz. Here we go. All right. MLB has decided to be idiots with the baseball fans because of money. Hell, sports is all about big business and money. So if you have a cable subscription for certain regional sports networks, you're getting shut out. Amazon, Peacock, Apple TV. Old school guy like me hates that stuff. The only one that I have is Peacock because I need to watch WWE and their events and all their programming on there. Occasionally I'll watch some of the movies on it. It's a pretty good channel. You know, I like Amazon. It's worth the price. It's $4 a month, $4.95 a month. The others I don't care. All right. Amazon, Peacock, Apple TV. Yes or no?
No. I totally hate it.
Why?
Because the broadcast throws me off most of the time. The camera angles throw me off, and also most of these people don't have it. So when I go out and like even to a restaurant, they don't have the game. So they want me to just stay inside all day and watch the Yankees and Mets play on Peacock and Apple TV. But the thing that ticked me off was 11:30 start. I did not like that. I was
11:30 in the morning covering a baseball game does not go with me on a Sunday morning. I think it's ridiculous. So I'm all no on this stuff. And the broadcast teams that they have on these buy-in streaming networks, they don't work for me either. So I agree with you. No. Yeah. All right. Then that wraps up the first segment on Sports with Rich with Nobody Beats the Wiz. Hey, John, do we have a little music with Nobody Beats the Wiz? John's running the controls here on the network tonight for us. Is there a little music that we have that we could tell Nobody Beats the Wiz that I agree with him on most of the things he said? Well, maybe you'll do it next week, John. You know? All right. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that because we're going to do it more often. Do you? I think there were a couple other facts before we move on. I was trying to line up another guest for us tonight, but Lloyd Carroll, another writer that I work with that you know as well out of New York, he's not available. He was out for the night, said he would try. So next week, and we'll talk about this later more, because I'm going to try and go on for 2 hours. We have enough to go 2 hours tonight. Your questions, if you're still with us in the cube, your comments, join us and let us get in. All right. Let's talk NHL. Let's get into that. And we have another comment. What do we got up there?
Love y'all's show, Rich and Rizzo. We appreciate
and that's
that.
Who's coming from where?
From the Bayou City Boys.
All right. Thank you, Bayou City Boys, whoever you are. Love to you as well from me, Rich, and the whiz, Robert Rizzo. Let's go to the NHL. Let's talk about this New York Rangers team and the run they're on. And they lost tonight, right?
Yeah, they lost.
And let's put up their goaltender. You pronounce his name than I do.
Yeah, Igor Shesterkin. It took me a while to learn it too.
Well, I couldn't. It would take me forever, to pronounce that name. I'm horrible with hockey names. I'm horrible with tennis names.
I don't know.
Forget about it. Even some of the fighters I'm around, I'm horrible with some of their names as well.
I don't know how hockey broadcasts do it.
I can't even spell them when I write.
I don't know how hockey broadcasts do it.
Rangers lost tonight. Do you have a detail about that? How they lost? I haven't really checked.
Yeah, I could check the score, but overall, the first 3 games, from what I know, it's a goalie clinic. Igor Shesterkin versus Alex Vasilevsky. Terrible with names, like I said. I apologize, but we're gonna go game by game. Game 1, Igor had 37 saves, and Vasilevsky had 28. Game 2, Igor 29, Vasilevsky 25. Igor 48 in game 3, Vasilevsky 28. So game by game, it's a goalie clinic, and you see it.
So, you believe the Rangers will take this series, dethrone Tampa Bay, go on to the Cup? Momentum, like in any sport in a postseason playoff series, so important. I believe this Rangers team, coming off 2 7-game series to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, that's classified as momentum to them. And I believe it's going to go 7 games. I could just tell that.
I believe it too. And they have momentum going for them, and also throughout the regular season, they worked hard enough to get that higher seed. So now they get the home ice. And as we've seen with the Rangers at MSG, it's a different type of animal. It's hard playing MSG.
What do you about? I will admit it. I don't know much about Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Why they get to the final, and we'll analyze this more next week. Mm-hmm. What about Colorado? Will they give the Rangers, and let's say the Rangers, assume they get in, how good is Colorado out of the West there?
Yeah, Colorado finished first in the Central Division in the West. They finished with the 4th most goals throughout the whole season. So you got to watch out for their offense. Just like that, they can score 2 quick goals on you, and 2 goals in hockey, just like that, takes you out of the game. Defensively, they still stacked up in the top 10 of goals allowed, 2.83 a game. So they're a balanced team, and they'll definitely give the Rangers and the Lightning problems. So it's just a matter on who comes out. But
one way to look at it, you know what I like?
No, I was going to say, in my opinion, I think whoever wins the Lightning Rangers series is going to end up winning the Stanley Cup.
I can agree with you there, Wiz. And and I love the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs because I've said this to you a few weeks ago on the air. You never know. Overtime, they could go 2-3 overtimes, which is incredible. And if you've never been to a live hockey event in the NHL, I don't care what team you root for, if you ever go, and I don't go, I covered it years ago, and I covered a few years ago before the pandemic, but not as much as I would love to that I've done in the past. If you ever go and you've yet to cover one event live, and you will, Rob and I, the Wiz and I, Robert Rizzo, both write for LatinoSports.com, NewYorkSportsDay.com. I write for a few other people as well because they call me a hooer in the business. So you have to watch an NHL hockey game up live, close, to really appreciate how good the NHL is, how competitive those guys are, their athleticism. I always say fighters are the best athletes. I think hockey players might be because they're constantly moving. There's no dull action in the NHL, and the Stanley Cup playoffs, to me, sudden death, overtime, and the playoffs got to be the best thing in sports.
Yeah, I love the NHL playoffs. It's one thing I usually don't watch in the regular season as much, but then once playoff season comes around, I try to tune in as much as I can. There's so much action, and when even the puck's not near you, guys are getting hit, guys are getting tackled. It makes for like football in a way and fighting, because we saw it today. I think it was in the second period. The Rangers had a fight with one of the Lightning players, and it was a 5-minute penalty for both teams, so they resulted in a 4-on-4.
Yeah, that's the only thing I don't like about it. The only thing I don't like about the NHL and hockey overall, it's a part of the game, but I don't like it. That old story I always heard years ago, and I got that from my mentor, Burt Randolph Sugar, the hat, out of boxing, because he loved the game too. But he always used to say to me, and I followed up with it, I went to a boxing match and a hockey game broke out. Get it? It's because the fighting, and I don't like it. I think sometimes it can be brutal and very dangerous, and I know the NHL has tried to crack down on that a bit, but hey, the fans like it, and it's a part of the game, the contact, it happens. But in the end, what I love at the end of every series in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, how the two teams line up and shake hands down the line, from the coach to the players. I love that. They could go to war and brawl, and at the end they're shaking hands, and I find that to be very, very sportsmanlike. If you're not a fan of the NHL, you should jump on the bandwagon. I should follow it more than I should, but in my old age, it's become more MLB and boxing that I like to specialize in. But gotta admit, it's a great sport.
Yeah, I was going to say, you see all these issues in college basketball with all the fights breaking out when they're shaking hands. Meanwhile, in hockey, these guys are beating each other up for, 3 periods a game, and they have the decency after the fact to shake hands and acknowledge the crowd that were booing them and cursing them out for all 7 games. So it takes a lot of guts to do that, and I appreciate that, watching it day by day.
You're right, Wiz. I agree with you. All right. So that Stanley Cup playoffs continue, and everyone's waiting to see if the Rangers end up meeting Colorado for that coveted Stanley Cup. Lord Stanley. But by the way, you didn't get that fact of the week last week about how big the cup was, and you're not going to get the fact of the week this week later when we close us all up in the wild. Talk about Albert Pujols, future Hall of Famer, still going great guns. 10th player in MLB history this week, with 3,000 career games. Albert Pujols is eventually going to be in the Hall of Fame. And you look at the names he joined with that. We have a photo, John, of Albert Pujols just to put him up, because I don't think people want to see my. There you go. That's classic, Albert Pujols. A record 7-time Latino Sports MVP award winner. Latino Sports gives ball players of Latino descent MVP awards in different categories. Pujols holds the record, well deserved. 3,000 career games joining. When you Pete Rose, Carl Yastrzemski, Hank Aaron, Ricky Henderson, Ty Cobb, Eddie Murray, Stan the Man Musial, Willie Mays, Cal Ripken Jr. He's in great elite company with that.
Yeah.
Besides the point that he's got 3,000 hit. He's got he's close to what? How many home runs? Is he in the 700 mark yet?
I believe he's around the high 600s, right?
Yeah, he's up there. I know he's up there.
He achieves another milestone today. During his game, he got his 3,320th hit, which marks 9th all time, and he was 10th before the game started. Just like that. He's making history like every game.
This guy is like 42 years old.
Yeah.
Maybe
683.
Got another comment in the queue, but the SLG Network here live. 683. Thank you.
Yeah.
People on the ball with us today.
And it was awesome to see him and interact with him up close when we were there against the Cardinals. It was Mets Cardinals. Because because he gave the media the time for one last time in New York, saying how much he appreciated playing at Shea and also Citi Field. He has so many memories dating back to 2004, I believe. 2003 started up, something like that. But
talked a lot about 2006 and how the Cardinals
when they
the
won
Mets.
in
the NLCS.
He brought up awesome memories throughout that with Wainwright and Molina.
It's incredible that his career still goes on, and there's been talk. And of course, Manny Machado brought this up yesterday. He's asking why there has not been a farewell tour for Albert Pujols. A lot of players in their final year get a farewell tour at all the visiting ballparks. Pujols is not getting it. From what I was able to understand today, he don't want it. He didn't want that. And you know why he don't want that, Wiz? Knowing Albert Pujols the way I do, I don't think this is going to be his last year. I got a feeling he's coming back next year. The Cardinals won't say no. He's still doing it in the lineup for them.
Yeah, and he's not even DH. I was going to say he's not even DH, and he plays first base as well.
And he's still great defensively at that position still as well. If he wants next year, come back, have your final year, you get DH.
Yeah.
So Manny Machado brought that up, and I feel Machado brought that up. And Pujols hasn't commented, but first of all, he's a subtle guy. He doesn't like being a part of it in the limelight.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's coming back another year. That's just my feeling. That's what I think.
That's your scoop?
It's not my scoop. Did you know Scoop was my nickname at one time? It still is. Because you didn't know that, right?
No, I didn't know that.
No, but that's still my nickname because I was able to scoop a lot of people years ago. I scooped the Mets world when Yoenis Cespedes signed the second time. I got it first for New York Sports Day. I was able to do that, but that's another story. We're going to come back and wrap this all up. John is going to give us another final update and see what the scoreboard is as baseball games are wrapping up. And we'll also take a look at what we're going to do next week. And I think next week we'll have I'm going to explain who we're going to have on the show. And if you can get us the fact of the week, we'll give you the answer as well. That's the Wiz, Robert Rizzo. I'm Rich Mancuso on the SLG Network. This is Sports with Rich. Here's John with a final update, and we'll be back after that. Stay tuned.
Thanks, guys, and another great job so far, guys. You guys have really done well. Over in baseball right now, the Mets are still losing right now to the San Diego Padres 4-0. They are in the top of the seventh. The Tigers are defeating the Pirates 5-3. They're in the bottom of the eighth. The Angels are defeating the Red Sox 5-3. They're in the. They just wrapped up the fifth inning. Over in San Fran, the Giants are defeating the Rockies 3-2. They're in the top of the sixth, and everything else has gone final already. The Guardians won. Actually, the Guardians won. Split their doubleheader. Okay, I apologize about that. Guardians 1-1, and the Rangers 1-1. The Reds won today. The Marlins won today. The Orioles won today. The Rays won today. Braves, Yankees, Astros won. The White Sox won, and the Phillies won. Again, going to go to our last break, which is going to be our What's Poppin' Corn Snacks, great sponsor to the network. And then the guys will be back to wrap up the show for tonight. Just give me 1 second, and there we go.
Doing bad, they gon' love you. Yeah. Doing good, they gon' hate you. Yeah. Look down on your come up, but to the hustle, stay faithful. Big goals by the rate full. Drip everywhere, that's wasteful. Accent color, that's tasteful. We front and center at the tape. Got 3-5 in my blunt. 4 extra mud in my cup. Yeah, I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. I was out of luck, yeah, now my money up. Yeah, they feeling it, they feeling it, they feeling it. Show her in a truck, then throw it in the guts. Yeah, she feeling it, she feeling it, she feeling it. Niggas talking tough, yeah, till we pulling up. Now he feeling it, he feeling it, he feeling it. Save me a gold casket, my life been tragic. Good gas and blunts pass, blow out a nigga head gaskets. Fuck boys, don't need them. Yo bitch crazy, better keep her. Yo niggas high when it's time to ride, but I bet that bitch start squeezing. Smoke sessions in the evening, private chef and we eat it. It's a long way from voyeur to 4 years in Lamborghinis. Move different, can't see me. Only pictures ain't on TV. Tribe meetings and vibe readings, these space race like E.T. We had roaches in the kitchen, now it's rooms in the villa. Took the cards I was dealt, flipped them, I'm the one who do the dealing. Did so much of my own, baby, I don't give a fuck about feelings. Everybody got a lot to say, but ain't nobody came with it. Fuck it, I spin it, had it, I lent it. Trusted some niggas, now I regret it. I can forgive it, never forget it. Niggas still out there, I ain't gon' get it. Yeah, this is it, I can't slow up. Niggas muddy from the pole up. Big sauce like a cold cut, you either hoe up or you gon' blow up. Got 3-5 in my blunt, 4 extra mud in my cup. Yeah, I'm feeling that, I'm feeling that, I'm feeling that. I was out of luck, yeah, now my money up. Yeah, they feeling it, they feeling it, they feeling it. Show her in a truck, then throw it in the guts. Yeah, she feeling it, she feeling it, she feeling it. Niggas talking tough, yeah, till we pulling up. Now he feeling it, he feeling it, he feeling it. What a ghost mean power, you a star, Omari Hardwick. Seen a lot of hardships, we was taking long trips. Talking through the glass, gotta medicate with strong hits of ganja. Gotta watch how people move around you. My brother got sittings cause of snitch. Niggas dying over bitches, niggas lie like it's religion. If you been down, you feel me. Gotta keep applying pressure, double up, that boy can stretch it. Good credit or no credit, they need it, go get it. Lil' baby, this is me, what you get is what you see. And you best believe we wore red. Got 3-5 in my blunt, 4 extra mud in my cup. Yeah, I'm feeling that, I'm feeling that, I'm feeling that. I was out of luck, yeah, now my money up. Yeah, they feeling it, they feeling it, they feeling it. Show her in a truck, then throw it in the guts. Yeah, she feeling it, she feeling it, she feeling it. Niggas talking tough, yeah, till we pulling up. Now he feeling it, he feeling it, he feeling it.
What's popping? I love that, Riz. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. Oh, I can't jump around like that too much. My back must be feeling good.
That sponsor got me in the mood for some popcorn.
Yeah, that too. We're supposed to get some. John told us we're going to get some soon. Forget it. Sure. I'll put on 10 more pounds that I want to lose. Sports with Rich, SLG Network, Tuesday Night Live, 10 p.m. We're going to wrap this up in a moment, almost 2 hours. Once again, I'm Rich Mancuso. That's the Wiz, Robert Rizzo. Hey, some notes I want to bring to your attention here. We were talking about Joe Girardi losing his job, and we're talking about, of course, Joe Madden today with the Angels. And I came across another note I always come, because I read a lot. I keep telling you to read. And the more you read, the more you get, right? So here we go. Major League Baseball, MLB.com came up with this, found that since 1969, which was a good year if you were a Met fan way before you were born, Wiz. We didn't know there'd be a Wiz like you. All right. 174 teams have had multiple managers for more than 20 games each in a season. This is not limited to managers fired, but also managers who leave for personal and medical reasons. Still, of those 174 teams, only 14, that's 8%, made the postseason. So is getting rid of the manager really that point here? As I brought up earlier in the show tonight, getting rid of the manager the answer? In the case of the Phillies and Joe Girardi, it might be working right now. Will that continue? But percentages show that only 8% of the time does it make a team better and get them to the postseason. So, I found that it could,
It's definitely interesting. It could shake up the regime in the short term and see how it goes, but I think it's more for the long term and for free agency coming up and just like in the future for your franchise. And also with the Angels and the Phillies having the recent firings, I just want to state with the Angels, they had a 12-game losing streak. never in baseball, never in MLB history has a team gone through 11-game losing streak and made the playoffs that same year. So that's a stat to look out for.
There's still a lot of baseball to go.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The team, they went through an expanded playoff. The Angels had to go off to a good start, and then they just collapsed because guys aren't hitting. Those guys are too good of hitters on that Angels team. Ohtani is not the greatest thing that came since Thy Kingdom Come, and he's no Babe Ruth, but he's better than what he's been doing on the mound and at the plate. So I expect the Angels to rebound and go on a run with Bob Melvin as their new manager. Now, let's talk NFL a little bit, just briefly. Rams All-Pro defensive tackle Aaron Donald. We worked his contract 3 years, $95 million, which made him the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. Did you hear about that?
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah,
every time I hear these contracts and these salaries with these athletes, it's amazing. I can't believe the money they get. And here we got another record contract in the NFL. And another NFL note, and teams are going into their spring practices now, little by little. Before you know it, next month, NFL training camps open up again, which means we're getting closer to September and NFL Sunday, which is my favorite time of year. The hell with baseball and boxing. I love NFL Sunday. And if you're a gambler, and I'm not, you love it just as much. Another NFL note, and this pertains to Houston Texan assistant Romeo Crennel, who I always liked. He retired after 39 seasons in the NFL. He had 9 teams, 5 Super Bowl wins, 17 playoffs, and 13 division titles. So good luck to Romeo Crennel, who's retired after 39 great seasons in the NFL. Longevity for an NFL coach. And we talk about longevity of a Major League Baseball manager. His longevity of an NFL coach, 39 years, is an awful long time to be in the game, whether you're a head coach or an assistant. And with all that success that he never really got great credit for. Great coach. Should have asked Mike. We should have asked him last week on the program, Westhoff, the author of a great book that we had on about special teams, and he knew him. I should have mentioned that. So, also, good luck to Romeo Crennel.
I saw on Twitter today, DK Metcalf wasn't attending OTAs. All these star players are attending OTAs now.
Well, I think it benefits them. It does benefit them. Yeah.
Yeah, it benefits them. But Metcalf is like the odd man out right now because everyone's attending, and he's the next guy that wants that high level contract. And Deebo Samuel was going to be the guy, but he attended his OTAs. So Metcalf, you could see his name in a trade. You could see his name swirling around on Twitter the next few weeks.
Yeah, we'll do more NFL talk as we get closer to the opening of training camps. You're going to cover some NFL for the first time in your young career in September, October, wherever it be.
Very excited.
Right now, we're in the midst of this baseball season that's driving me nuts. It drives us all nuts because it's such a long season. John Sterling said he's no longer doing road games on Yankee broadcast as of the next road trip, and they're looking for a fill-in. Are you up for the job?
I have no play calling experience. I don't think I'd be able to do it, honestly.
Nobody beats the Wiz on that one, right?
Yeah.
And Tiger Woods, Gad.
No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
All right, I was just going to say.
I clog up enough of this 2 hours.
I was just going to say good. I was going to say good for Sterling because he's 83 going on 84, and he mentioned the other day against Baltimore on the road trip that they finished for a 7:00 game. It was 7:10, and he got home and in the hotel and stuff. He went to sleep.
It's got to be
tough.
Look, I get him from the
at 4:00.
I get him from the ballpark at 1:00 in the morning sometimes, and I can't fall asleep. So I know the feel, and I'm still 20 some odd years younger than him.
Yeah,
so I don't know how he does it. He looks great. Except he still makes mistakes. Like tonight, he called the Minnesota Twins the Minnesota Vikings.
That's rough.
You know, and his excuse to get out of it was he was looking at the Vikings football stadium, which is right next door to Target Field.
It's a good excuse. It's a
Oh,
good
that's
excuse.
John. That's John, but he's a great guy. Calls me
Hell of a
young fella.
broadcaster.
Always calls
Yeah.
me young fella. I don't know why.
I grew up listening to him.
Yeah, a lot of you and a lot of others. Yeah. Tiger Woods has said he's not competing in the next PGA championship. I forget where it is, but he said he's just not ready for it. He can't do it. What do you think about that?
Yeah, Tiger, it's just he's got to go out on his own, like, period level with everything, stage level, because that car accident was rough on him. And we saw the last tournament play. Halfway in, he was looking at his legs. He was slow to get up with everything, with his swing. He just looked slow with everything, and you saw it. And he was saying with all his play with on courses with the hills, he doesn't like anything with hills. So we might not see him play that much.
I don't know. I think his career is about over.
Courses.
I think he's made an attempt to do it, and it's just not working out. Hey, Wiz, you ever golfed before?
I have never golfed before, but I've caddied throughout my years.
Well, so a lot. You have the face of someone who could be on the links the whole day. I know your dad's a good golfer. I know that.
Yeah, he loves his golf. 3 to 4 days.
I gave it up. I gave it up years ago. I got to get back, but my back probably can't deal with it anyway, because I had the worst teacher in the world. My older brother, who's an avid golfer, and he tried to teach me, and instead of teaching me, he's screaming and yelling at me. So, Brother Bob, if you're listening at home, that's the answer. Why I didn't follow up. You don't discourage someone. You teach them. It's a great game not to watch. You have to play it to enjoy it more. And we'll talk golf, too, because I said we'll do everything on this program but tiddlywinks. And we'll get to that one day. Tiddlywinks is a real sport. I know. I don't kid you on that. And one other item I had to mention, the USTA, the tennis tour, Grand Slam. Right now, they're into the Grand Slam. I think it's the French Open. And who won it again just yesterday?
Oof.
Roger Nadal or the other guy?
Oh, yeah. No, Nadal. I believe Nadal.
I think he's got a record number of Grand Slam titles. I'm able to see at the end of August in the New York area at the USTA Center, of course, from City Field, the U.S. Open, who's going to compete in that. All right, let's wrap this up briefly. I want to get John. John, are you there? Come on in real quick. John?
I'm right here.
He's not. I know John's not asleep. Great job behind the scenes again tonight, my friend. Thank you again. You and everyone at the SLG Network helping us put this together now every week. Sports with Rich live, me, Robert, Rizzo, 10 p.m. live on Tuesday night. John, I want your take briefly. Again, I know you can talk, okay? You're a Met fan, right?
Yes, I am.
I know your email starts with Mets, so I know you have to be a Met fan. What do you make of Alonso and Marte tonight going down? Is that going to hurt the team? What do you think?
You guys said on the show, and I agree with you, if they're out for more than a couple of games, then it's going to get a little dicey. But right now, we can stay where we are. I don't see it being a problem.
And
I'm more concerned, not to cut you off, Rich, I'm curious to see what's going to happen when Scherzer and DeGrom come back. That's going to be a deadly combo right there.
Definitely. That's what every Met fan is looking forward to. John, did you get the fact of the week?
I can give a wild guess and see if I'm probably.
You didn't look it up.
I did not look it up. Nope, I did not look it up.
The amount of time of action on the baseball field, baseball game 3 hours or more, that's the average. But the average time it accounts for stolen bases, wild pitches, pass balls, strikes, fouls, balls in play, and so forth, all that stuff. If you understand what the fact question is, you know what it is. What was that? Losito, thanks for joining in. He says 30 minutes, 30 seconds. Nowhere near it, Losito. Thanks for your answer, but you didn't get. I might still give you the bobblehead anyway because I know who you are, and you've been a supporter of mine and a fan for years, Losito, down in South Jersey. I'll give you guys the answer. You ready?
Yeah.
Remember the question now. Ready?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Nobody beats Mancuso with the fact of the week. 5 minutes, 47 seconds.
Wow, that went way off what my guess was going to be.
Yeah, mine
What was
too,
yours?
honestly.
What was it?
I was going to say 24 minutes.
And yours, Wiz?
27. I was going to say 27.
You know what? You'd never get my fact of the week. Many people won't. Even if you look it up, you try and cheat, you won't get it.
There's going to be a day where I get it, and you're going to be shocked.
Well, in that case,
and all the comments are going to blow up too once I get it right.
And when you get it right, that's when I'll retire for sure. All right?
John,
anyway, that's what'll happen. Yeah. And I'll be drinking Geritol the rest of my life. John, thank you, my friend. Great job behind the scenes. I'll say bye-bye now. Good night. Thank you, John. And we'll talk to you off the air. Assess the damage that I made tonight and talk about next week. All right? Thank you, John. Wiz, let's wrap it up and talk about next week. We had a great almost 2 hours. And we want to thank Luis Cortez again for coming on, a young Philadelphia writer, Max Boxing and so forth, and his great insights on the Phillies. Jam-packed almost 2 hours tonight because sports is always jam-packed, as you know, Wiz. And I'll have some more Nobody Beats the Wiz for you next week. And next week, a guest we'll have on the program, at least for one segment lined up already, Tom Gamboa. Longtime baseball coach and manager in the minor league system, New York Mets. And if people might remember, Tom wrote a book with a colleague of mine, David Russell. But Tom also was a coach with the Kansas City Royals about 10 years ago or more. And if you don't, I don't know if you remember this, a fan came out of the stands and attacked him on the third baseline. And that's why Tom got, unfortunately, Tom got known for that. I'll bring that up. I'll research it again. You can get that on the internet because you could always get things on Google and you'll find out that story. So, but Tom was also a AAA manager for some teams. Also has managed Israel in the World Baseball Classic, and awesome. He did the Brooklyn Cyclones, the New York Penn League. No longer the Penn League. They're single A ball New York Mets. So, we'll talk to Tom next week. And have some more fun, Wiz, for about 2 hours. Hopefully my back will feel better. My voice is still there. And great job as always, my friend. Keep up the good work. Tell everyone where they could reach you and where you writing in.
Yep, Robert Rizzo. You can follow me on Twitter, Drizzy Riz, Instagram, rrizzo4, Facebook, Robert Rizzo. I write for Latino Sports. Check all my articles out, and New York Sports Day.
And on tap this weekend, we got the Yankees Friday night. I know you do. And some other things as well. And look out for some of the great columns that Robert Rizzo, the Wiz, as I call him, writes, the latinosports.com. They're great writing. Great stuff.
I'll have an NBA Finals piece out either tomorrow or Thursday. So check that out.
Oh, writing, my writing is not as good as yours.
All right, don't say that.
Am I right? You are the future of this business. Great to have you around me as always. And to all of you for watching again this week, thanks for your support. I can be reached at Twitter at Ring786, Facebook.com/Rich Mancuso. Like, comment, and subscribe on the program on the SLG Network, Sports with Rich, as well as on my channel, Sports with Rich, where the show will be. We're on all the social media platforms, and on my channel, Sports with Rich. So please like, comment, and subscribe. I look forward to hearing from you. I do my best I can getting back to each and every one of you, as always. And next week, back live, 10 p.m. And Wiz, that's about it. I need to go to bed. My back is killing me. I got to take my Geritol. I got to put the heating pad on. The icy hot. I got to drink more water. And I got to stop being so sports crazy like you. That's my life. I'm consumed with it.
It's a big to-do list, and the sports are just ramping up. You know that with the summer starting.
Yeah, but guys, we'll see what happens with the Rangers. We'll talk more NHL, NBA. Of course, more Keep It in the Ring next week. And, of course, yes or no, Nobody Beats the Wiz and the Fact of the Week, plus much more. That's a wrap. I'm saying goodbye. 2 hours of great talk. Thank you again, everyone. Wiz, I love you, my friend. I'll see you probably this week. Thank you all. Thank you, John, the SLG Network, again, behind the scenes. Keep it in the ring, everyone. Right, Rob? Say it. Say it.
Keep it in the ring, guys.
There you got it. Till next week, everyone. I'm Rich Mancuso. That's Wiz Robert Rizzo. Sports with Rich. Thank you very much. Have a good rest of the night and day and week. God bless you all. Stay safe. Bye-bye.